My name is Elena, and I am 34 years old. When looking back now, it feels strange how gentle life once was. Not exciting, not dramatic, just calm, like soft light in a quiet room. At that time, happiness did not come from big moments. It came from small, steady days that felt safe. Life was shared with the man who was loved deeply. A small apartment was filled with simple routines. Every morning, coffee was made. The window was opened. Fresh air moved slowly through the room. Some days, the sky was blue. Some days, it was gray. But inside that home, everything felt warm. He was kind in quiet ways. He remembered small things. He noticed tired eyes. When silence filled the room, it did not feel uncomfortable. It felt peaceful. Love was not loud. It did not need to prove itself. It just stayed. Trust lives easily there. Phones were never checked. Words were never doubted. When love was spoken, it felt true and strong. The future looked steady and safe. From the outside, life looked perfect. A caring partner, a peaceful home, a future that felt sure. But inside the heart, something slowly began to feel missing. Nothing was wrong. No fighting, no anger. Yet a soft emptiness started to grow. It was not sadness. It was not pain. It was a quiet feeling of being unseen, like standing in a room full of people but still feeling alone. A small voice inside began to whisper that something was missing. That feeling was kept hidden. Gratitude for a good life made it hard to speak about quiet loneliness, so it stayed inside, waiting. And then one day, someone new appeared. It was a simple moment. No drama. Just a kind face and a warm voice. Someone who listened closely. Someone who asked questions and remembered the answers. When Elena spoke, this person looked like the words truly mattered. For the first time in a long while, it felt like being noticed again. Not just loved, but desired. That feeling was soft and dangerous. It made the heart feel awake. Nothing happened at first. New touching, new secrets. Just long conversations and gentle smiles. But those small moments began to grow. Messages became more personal. Meetings felt more meaningful. And slowly, small things started to be hidden. At first, it felt harmless. Just talking, just friendship. But deep inside, something already knew a line was being crossed. One evening, a message arrived while sitting next to the man who was loved. The phone was turned away. A simple lie was spoken. That was the first one. A small lie, a quiet lie, but lies grow. The connection with the other person became stronger. Words became softer. Feelings became deeper. The heart began to live in two places at once. There was still love at home, eschew warmth, eschew safety. But there was also excitement somewhere else. Two worlds were slowly being built. One was real, one was a dream. And Elena stood between them. To survive that, excuses were created. I deserve to feel alive. It does not hurt anyone. It is only emotional. But the heart grew heavier with every passing day. The man at home began to notice changes. Silence became longer. Distance grew. I searched for answers that were never given. One evening, his hand reached out, but it was not held the way it once was. Sadness was seen in his eyes. Fear filled the chest. Regret followed, but the truth still stayed hidden. And that was the moment when the first real crack appeared in everything that once felt safe. And this is the part of the story that still makes the air feel heavy inside my chest. Because the truth did not come out in a storm. There was no shouting, no broken plates, no dramatic exit. Just one small moment that changed the shape of everything. It happened on an ordinary evening. Dinner had already been eaten. The lights were soft. The room smelled like soap and warm food, like it always did. The home still looked the same from the outside clean table. Quiet television, familiar walls. But inside that calm room, a secret was breathing. A message came to the phone. It was not even loud, just a small vibration against the table. The screen lit up for 1 second, just long enough. A name, a short line of text, a little heart, and then silence. The hand moved too fast. The phone was turned over. The eyes looked away. A normal smile was forced, like nothing had happened, like everything was still safe. But the man who loved Elena saw it. Not the message itself. The reaction, the panic that flashed across the face, the way the breath changed, the way the body went still. That is how truth often appears. Not as proof, but as a feeling, a realization, a quiet, sharp knowing that cannot be undone. He did not ask immediately. He just stared for a moment, like the mind was trying to understand what the heart already knew. His eyes moved from the phone to Elena's face, and something inside those eyes broke, not with anger, with shock. The air between them felt different suddenly, like the room was no longer a home, but a place where something had died. "Who is that?" he asked. The question was simple, but it was heavy. And Elena had a choice in that moment, one last chance to be honest, but fear took over. A lie came out again, fast, automatic. "Desperate, just a friend," Elena said, but the voice did not sound real. It sounded thin, like paper trying to act like stone. He did not argue. He did not raise his voice. He did not demand the phone. He just looked down slowly, like someone watching their own life fall apart in silence. Then he asked again, "Soft, are you sure?" And that softness was worse than anything else, because it carried trust and hope and a final chance. But the truth was already spilling out of the cracks. Elena's hands were shaking. The heart was beating too fast. The eyes could not stay steady, and he saw it. He stood up from the chair like his legs were heavy, like the body was moving through water. He reached for the phone, not violently, not angrily, just with a sad calmness that made everything feel final. Elena did not stop him, because deep down, Elena knew there was no more pretending. He looked at the screen. His fingers moved slowly. His face did not change at first, and then it did, not into rage, into pain, a quiet pain that made him look older in 1 second. His mouth opened a little, as if words were coming, but nothing came out. His eyes stayed on the phone for a moment longer, like reading it again would change it, like reality might become softer if it was stared at long enough. But it did not, and then he sat down, not to fight, but to survive. Silence filled the room, the kind of silence that feels like a wall. Elena tried to speak, tried to explain, tried to shape words into something that could make the moment less real. But nothing sounded right, because there is no gentle way to explain betrayal. There is no pretty sentence that makes it okay. His voice finally came, low and tired. "How long?" Elena's throat tightened. The truth did not want to come out. It burned on the way up. But it came, and when it did, it destroyed what was left. His shoulders dropped, like the weight of the world fell on them. He did not cry loudly. He did not slam the table. He did not insult Elena. He just sat there, staring at the floor. And in that moment, Elena understood something that had never been understood before. Anger would have been easier, because anger still shows connection. Anger still means someone cares enough to shout. But this was heartbreak. Quiet heartbreak is what happens when love is still present, but trust is gone. Elena watched his face and felt sick, not because of being caught, but because of seeing what was done to someone who had loved purely. His eyes were red, but he kept blinking like he refused to fall apart. He stood up again, slowly, and walked toward the bedroom. Elena followed, one step behind, like a shadow, not knowing what to say, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to take back time. He opened the closet. He pulled out a bag, and he began to put clothes inside. Still no shouting. Just that same quiet, steady sadness. Elena whispered, "Please." But even that word felt wrong, because please cannot fix betrayal. He stopped for a moment, holding a shirt in his hands. He looked at it like it belonged to a different life. Then he looked at Elena. His voice was soft. "I loved you," he said. Only that. 3 words. And they were heavier than any scream. Then he walked past. The door closed, and the home became empty. At first, it did not feel real. The body still expected Sones's footsteps, his voice, the normal noises of daily life, but there was nothing. Only the hum of the refrigerator. Only the quiet air. Only the space where love used to live. That night, the bed felt cold on one side. Elena lay down and stared at the ceiling like it was an unfamiliar place. The heart kept waiting for him to come back, but it did not happen. The next day felt worse. Morning came, and there was no coffee smell, no small greeting, no shared routine. The apartment felt too big, even though it was small. Silence sat in every corner. And the phone, the same phone that had once felt exciting now, felt disgusting. The other person messaged again, but the message did not bring warmth anymore. It brought shame, because the fantasy had ended and the reality had arrived. The affair did not feel powerful now. It felt pointless. Elena ended it with a short sentence, not because of strength, but because everything that mattered had already been lost. The excitement was gone. Only guilt remained. And guilt is not loud. It is slow. It follows everywhere. It sits beside you when you eat. It whispers when you try to sleep. It rises in the chest when you see couples holding hands in the street. Days passed, then weeks, but the damage stayed. Because trust, once broken, does not return the same way. Love cannot live where safety is gone. And now Elena began to understand what had been destroyed. Not only a relationship, a life, a future, a home built with years of small kindness. All of it erased by one choice. And the most painful part was this. The betrayal did not happen because love was absent. It happened because gratitude was absent. Because love was taken for granted. Because the quiet goodness of someone loyal was treated like it would always stay. This is where true pain began. Not the pain of loneliness, but the pain of knowing that the loss was earned. No blaming others could be done anymore. Not the partner. Not the other person. Not distress. Not boredom. The truth was simple and sharp. The destruction was self-created. And that truth is a hard place to live in. Some nights, Elena sat on the floor in the dark, thinking about the moment his eyes changed, thinking about the way he said, "I loved you," like he was saying goodbye to a part of himself. And the mind kept repeating one question. Why? Why was a safe love not enough? Why was desire chosen over devotion? And slowly, over time, one painful answer became clear. Because being loved felt normal, but being desired felt special. And that hunger small at first grew into a selfishness that did not look dangerous until it was too late. Healing did not come quickly. There was no bright new beginning. There was only the slow, humbling road of becoming honest. The first step was to stop trying to fix what could not be fixed. Messages were not sent anymore. No long apologies. No begging. Because sometimes the most respectful thing is to accept the consequences. Some things cannot be repaired. Some people cannot return, not because love is gone, but because trust is gone, and trust is the foundation of home. Without it, love has nowhere to stand. Elena learned to live alone. At first, it felt like punishment, but slowly it became a classroom. Loneliness forced reflection. Silence forced truth. And in that truth, growth began, not proud growth, not beautiful growth, just quiet awareness. Meals were eaten alone. Morning air was felt alone. Evenings passed without anyone waiting. And through that emptiness, something new formed. Humility, a deeper understanding of love, a painful respect for what loyalty truly is. Life became smaller, but Marty held, and that is how this story ends. Not with a happy reunion, not with a perfect lesson, but with truth. Love is fragile. One choice can change a lifetime. And some lessons are learned too late.